Boop. Play ball! Blue 22! Hike, 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 hike.
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
Imagine if we just stood here like this the whole time. And that's it. That was our show. We might get more followers.
5-second post.
Might get more followers. Anyway, I am Shane Moore. I'm one of your hosts.
I'm the Bry Man.
Yeah, and we're here with
Welcome
Sports
back.
and Sorts on June 8th. Who
Yeah.
knows what day it is anymore? It's a Monday. That's what we know.
knows.
That's all we
Yeah.
know. It's a Monday. It's 10:44. Running behind a little bit. Clint's,
Yeah.
Clint's probably pissed off at us. But anyway, we're going to be talking about a couple of things NFL related. Jake Fromm and his elite texts, and maybe get into a little Roger Goodell, how he's joining the movement, and I don't know how much we want to get into Trump and his going back and forth with all that.
I would rather not get in Trump at all.
Yes, exactly. And then we got the NBA, which is starting at the end of the month. At the end of July. And then we're going to be, we could talk a little bit PGA because they're starting, I think Charles Schwab is starting this week. No fans, but they are going to be going there. I think in Texas. I think that's where they are.
Tiger's going to be so happy. This plays like so into his. He does not like fans, so it's gonna suit him well.
You think he's just going to go on a winning spree of 6 straight?
I mean, no cameras clicking in the background, nobody yelling on his backswing. He's going to be so happy.
This is
gonna
right
be
at this
happy.
level. Right
It
out.
really-
Yeah. Although he didn't, I wouldn't say he played great in those matches, and there wasn't a ton of fans, especially in that last one.
I'm not going to hold the match against anybody. I mean,
He did have a streak of 16 fairways in a row. Or
I don't know.
something.
Was it you or was it my brother who was telling me that they weren't Tiger just didn't look like he was having any fun. Maybe if they do another one of those, it needs to be, they need to either change it up or, do something else. I don't know. I thought it was you, but
I don't think I said, I do think they need to change it up. I think that he's a little lackluster.
yeah,
He just doesn't talk enough smack.
Everybody else brought something to that. And Tiger just looked like he was playing.
He
going
said a
through the
couple of
motions.
things here and there, but
Yeah.
I want to hear him talk smack.
Right.
Phil says some stuff from time to time.
And obviously
Peyton
and Brady
and
were-
Brady were, Brady, I think, did the best job, but he was also struggling the most. And, Peyton has come out afterwards and saying how he had a couple of interviews where they was like, yeah, we had some things that we were going to do. We had some stuff lined up, but with the rain and all that kind of stuff, it kind of put a damper on it. I think
It did. It didn't help.
I think he said that him and Tiger planned to bring his 3 U.S. Opens trophies with him, and he was going to carry one, and Peyton was going to carry one, and he was going to ask Phil to carry the other one.
Oh, that would have
been great. That would have been tremendous.
That would have been funny. Because as we all know, if you're a golf fan and you're a Phil fan, that's the one that has eluded Phil, and that's probably the one that's been his most heartbreaking of losses. A lot of second place finishes and top fives, and it's been pretty. Yeah, at this point in his career, he will probably not win one. It's the hardest one to win. Well, I don't know if that's
true. At times,
either.
Those greens sometimes depends on where they have it.
It does, right?
Beth
it really depends on the
Page
course.
and
Beth Page, Shinnecock. It really depends on the course, but because the British, of course, just because of the conditions, can be very, very difficult to win. Usually, the PGA and the Masters are, the easier of the four. But yeah,
it's
the U.S.
for him. Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough for Phil. But then again, he can still pound the ball. He's just got to find that happy medium of risk and reward when he's playing that course. That's the way he will win that tournament. But again, I think the longer it goes, that U.S. Open courses play long, And the older he gets, the less he'll be able to drive the ball. But excuse me. Maybe that actually won't hurt him that much though, because maybe he'll kind of be like a pitcher who gets older and he'll start to adjust a little, his game. Maybe he'll focus more on, instead of trying to crush the ball and, be a gambler, maybe he'll, walk it back a little bit, be a little bit more conservative, especially with trying to hit fairways. And that actually could play to his advantage in the U.S. Open, but who knows? I don't know why we talked about that. We were supposed to be talking about Jake Fromm.
Who cares? We started talking about PGA. We should get into the PGA maybe a little bit after. Just real quick, just talk, because they're starting this week. No fans. It's gonna be fun. I think it'll be interesting to see. That's a sport that I think that the fans don't really add a lot.
No, I still think
I think they should, because they don't let the fans do anything while they're there. Like, they're always putting up quiet signs and all that kind of stuff. Like, so that's why I don't think it's a big deal right now for them. I think that they should perform, and they'll perform pretty well. You might see some people like Brooks Koepka not play well, because he has admitted, like, there's 7 holes that he just kind of blacks out and just goes through and just tries pars, like par, because it's boring. It's so monotonous and boring that he kind of blacks out and just kind of goes through the motions for a while.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when the fans start getting a little more lively, he gets ramped up. So you might see him just kind of fade off into non-existence. So I'll be interested. I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. Maybe we'll get into it. I don't know. We can just sit here and shoot it back and forth right now if we wanted to. But I think that that's one of those that potentially, like, you might see Tiger go a little bananas. I don't know. Well, I would like to hear some thoughts about that. If you want to hear any talk about a little bit more PGA, just let us know in the comments, and we'll discuss it a little bit, because I'd like to hear anybody else's thoughts as well. Like, do they think Tiger's going to go bananas? Do they think this is going to suit people? Are they going to interact with the players more because there's going to be less fans? There's going to be less stuff going on. Will they talk to the players a little bit more? That'd be cool. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's get into NFL, because I think this is a pretty hot topic right now with Jake Fromm and Clint is one of the diehard listeners here, and I are Buffalo Bills fans. Jake Fromm was drafted, and we had both, at least I had thought that was a great draft pick at that round. They got him late. I think that he was a great backup plan for Josh Allen. And then
you're speaking about him in past tense.
This might be the end of his career. This could be the end of his career. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This could be, and might, and no matter which way you look at it, whether you're, kind of on the side of, you can't share private text messages, private conversations. Like, that's because you don't know the context behind any of it. Like, that's one of those things that's like, you could take text messages. Like, if you're anybody, like, if somebody takes a text message from me from 5 years ago and just post something, and you could say something terrible about it, like, but it could have been done in a joking manner. It could have been done, who knows? You can, and I'm not saying racist or anything like that. I think my friends are pretty well versed that I am not a racist person. So I would be very intrigued to see that side of it. Like, you even had with Shannon Sharp, he was talking with Skip about it, and Skip said, private conversation, text message, like, how are you on that? And he's like, Shannon basically said, I would never do that. I would never share a private conversation with anybody else. It's something that I just could not do. But this one got out there, and now we have to talk about it. And this is how I feel. And I feel he should probably be let go, because you can't do that tough. So it's one of those things.
The context of what he said was
it looks terrible. It looks horrible. But like I said,
it would have been bad in an environment that wasn't even as charged as it is right now.
But like, it
still would have been bad.
Now
it's worse.
No matter what, it's terrible that he said it.
Right.
But we don't know what she said. She could have said something that kind of joking around and baited him into it, and they were kind of joking back and forth, and we don't know.
I don't know how you get baited it into saying, I don't know
Just
how
you could just be. They could have had a conversation about guns and how, and then they're both rich or whatever, and then they said, yeah, that'd be really funny if we were, only, white people should get guns and stuff like that. Ha ha ha. And then he posted something, yeah, this is what it is, and in a joking manner, but we don't know. Like, you could do something like that on Saturday Night Live and completely get away with it.
Sure. I know what you're saying. You're right. I guess we don't know the entire context.
We don't know the whole conversation that happened. We don't know if they had a back and forth joke about that for a month. We don't know.
But
now we also don't know if he is actually racist. Like, he could be, and then he absolutely deserves it. So I just don't know enough, but I know what I know, and that's that text message, and I'm guessing he's going to be out, and I would have no problems with that. And that's the end of his career.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I put up a tweet the other day that said, rest in peace, Jake Fromm, 2020 through 2020. It was a quick career. It was over before you even knew it. Poor guy. Poor guy. He's an asshole. He's getting. I couldn't care less about Jake Fromm.
Yeah, it is what it is. I would like to, I would like to hear what Clint says. He said, what happened to Allen? Nothing happened to Allen. And he had some comments that were in the back in the day, but it didn't come out at this time. And I think timing is everything.
Here's the one thing I can guarantee about Jake Fromm. He will never get that State Farm contract. That's never going to happen.
No.
He ain't getting that State Farm sponsorship. They will run away from him. It's too bad. It was like right there for him too,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Damien's making a point that you don't joke about black people or black or poor people not deserving to have access to guns if you think black or poor people shouldn't have access to guns. I disagree with that. I think that SNL has done a lot of risque humor, of course, over the course of times, and they get away with it on the regular. I think comedians in general make jokes. It's because it is joking, whether they mean it or not. It is intended as a joke, and I think that you can get away with it in a joking light. Now, you don't know what his ultimate intention was. For all I know, he was, reading to poor people on a regular basis, and going to soup kitchens on every other Wednesday, and all this kind of stuff. I have no idea what his life is like, but
I read the texts, and again, to your point, I don't know what is or what is not in context, but by reading them and then reading the reactions, whoever it is he was texting with sounded off-put and offended.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was not out of context. I'm guessing he meant it.
Oh, yeah. And I will also say to Damien here, he said SNL is a business of parody. This was a private conversation. It's different when you are doing it for audience. How do you think that these jokes start? Probably through text messages. They probably go back and forth with each other. Hey, what do you think about this, and this? And everybody, whether you like it or not, does stuff in parody, in text messages and private conversations. Because we see this stuff, we think it's funny. And whether you like it or not, it's just what happens. People do stuff in jest through text messages all the time. And I don't believe that.
It's kind of a moot point.
It is. It's one of those things that's very difficult. I don't think that it's right, but it happens all the time.
Yeah. It's just.
It doesn't matter if he's a writer of a show or not. We don't know how hilarious he is. He could be one of the funniest people on the planet. We don't know because he plays football. You don't know. You just can't make that judgment. But I will say he's going to be gone, and rightfully so, because this got out. It was a private text message. It probably shouldn't have gotten out, but it did. And because of that, he should be out. And I agree with it.
The Bills have not let him go as of yet, right?
No. Either way, it's going to be tough for him to get in that locker room.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough. It's a predominantly African-American league. And I wouldn't say a lot. I would say at least there's a good portion of the league that grew up on the poorer side and probably had to deal with a lot of issues that George Floyd, unfortunately, had happened to him. And that's something that is going to be that's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough to if he can go in there and he can apologize and he can get the locker room back on his side, then wow. He's either a great actor or he's an amazing human.
It's not going to happen because it's not a locker room in which he has any tenure. This isn't like a Drew Brees situation, you know?
Right. Which I mean, it could be worse for him. Like he would have to be really, really a great human being to get that locker room on his side, considering he's a backup.
Yeah. Now, the Drew Brees situation. Oh, I don't know what to think about Drew Brees. I'm torn because part of me wants to believe that Drew Brees just simply didn't grasp the question that he was being asked and instead made it about the American flag when it was never really about the American flag.
Yeah, went through the basic motions of an interview.
But then the other side of me says, no, he knew why he was being interviewed here. Mm-hmm. He made it a point to make this somehow about the American flag, even though it wasn't about it. And then I go back and forth though, because then you do look at a lot of the things that Drew Brees has done in that community. I mean, this is not a guy who's quiet and just, collects his paycheck and goes home. He's very heavily involved in the community. So it's weird. Like there's this balancing act with Drew Brees where you have to weigh the good with the bad. And, let's put it this way. I'm glad I never bought one of his jerseys. But then again, I have a Barry Bonds jersey in my closet. He's like the biggest fucking cheater of them all. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know. Look, Drew Brees, let's put it this way. Drew Brees has done a lot for New Orleans. He's meant a lot to that city. Mm-hmm. But I do also think it's very telling that, like not one day after he made those comments, you had thousands of people in the streets in New Orleans saying, fuck Drew Brees.
Yeah. I mean, even his wide receiver, Mike Thomas, he basically said, he was like,
but now, of course, though, they've all forgiven him.
Well, yeah, because he apologized to them. Like he went and apologized and he had a conversation and they basically said, okay, we forgive you. Like we understand where you were coming from. I don't know, but you don't know because it was done in private. So you don't know exactly what happened.
Now, if you ask me, do I think Drew Brees is racist? No, I actually don't. No. I don't think he is. I think he just got caught up in he got caught up in the emotions of the fact that in his family, mine and like so many others, you have people who are war heroes. Yeah. And that flag means something.
And that's both in any like race. We all have war heroes in our families.
Right, exactly. I mean, I've got one on my side, Melissa has one on her side. I mean, it's kind of a common thing. But look, here's the thing though. It was never about the flag. No. He brought that conversation into play on his own because it was almost like he had some kind of vendetta to get out there.
And I think he was kind of.
I think you're missing the topic.
He went back to the Colin Kaepernick thing, and we both agreed when that was going on that Colin Kaepernick didn't help the situation because he couldn't actually verbalize what he was trying to do. He couldn't put it into words, really, what he was trying to do. He was very just like all over the place with his words. And it made it very difficult to kind of pinpoint what he was trying to do. And it took a while and a lot of other people to really give you the idea of what was happening.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I think that the movement is great. I was in big time support of all the protests that were happening over the weekend. And, I wasn't a part of any of them because just due to the COVID thing and me being a diabetic, my daughter having heart complications and everything like that, I really just didn't feel it would be safe for us to be a part of any of that. So when I drove by, I was
I did
definitely
too.
honking and rooting
Me too.
and all that kind of
Me
stuff.
too.
I think it
Yep.
was very.
I did the same thing on Saturday.
It was a great thing for them to do,
Yeah.
and I applaud them for it.
I wanted to go to our towns on Thursday, but again, I'm like you in the same boat. I've got compromised people in the house, and I can't. It's not worth the risk. I just can't do it as much as I would have liked to. And let's be honest, they're not protests are not socially distant events.
No.
So there's just no.
As peaceful as they were. And that's the unfortunate thing. I will say, kind of, I don't follow the news. I don't watch the news at all. But it seemed like when I was scrolling through Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, it seemed like a lot of the news stations weren't following it very much. Did you notice that at all? I don't know if you watch the news or not.
I mostly watch CNN.
Yeah,
so I watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of local news.
It seemed like a lot of the news stations weren't following it because there wasn't violence going on, which is unfortunate. But I don't know. I can't speak for.
But there were literally, they're protested every town in America. It's really great. Yeah. It's beautiful. It really is.
And it was peaceful.
It was. And you know what? And it was funny because on Saturday I went out for a ride because I was like, I had to go to the dump. So I'm like, Belle, do you want to come with me just to go for a ride? Because, none of us have been out,
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, let's go. So she said after the dump, she's like, can we just drive through town just to go somewhere? I'm like, yeah, sure. So, I go drop off the garbage and then we're driving through town. And then, we happened upon a protest in downtown Willimantic and it was awesome. It was really peaceful. They had stopped traffic in one part. They're marching through the street and we were all honking on our horns and waving and, and it was great. It really was. It's so, I mean, look, it gives you faith that George Floyd's death was not in vain and that it won't be in vain and that something will come of this. You hope. Of course, the flip side of that, and again, without going too heavy into politics, even though we have gone down that route a little bit lately.
Yeah, wow. Sorts.
Let's be honest, though. If Donald Trump is reelected, the chances of legislation are not good. The chances of any kind of positive legislation to come out of this are not good. Regardless of how hard Democrats try, they won't be able to push anything. If Trump is still in power and or the Republicans still have the Senate, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough.
Yep.
The best thing to do this November is for there to be a blue wave so that we can get some adults in the room. But regardless, everything that I saw this weekend and things that you're seeing nationally, it's just incredible. Every town in America, it's really amazing. It really is. I mean, it's and obviously you're seeing a lot of videos too of people who are trying to disrupt. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Did you see the video of the fucking guy on the bicycle?
Mm-mm.
The bicycler in Maryland? Oh, that he put his hands on a little girl because she had a Black Lives Matter thing written. He walked up to her all intimidating and trying to be all big, and he ripped it out of her hand. He put his hands on her, and the thing that actually outside of that annoyed me, the fucking I don't know if it was the dad or what the whole story was, but there's a guy holding a camera, and I'm pretty sure that he was the dad and it was his daughter. He's just sitting there filming the whole thing. Dude, so this is what I retweeted that video, and I said, and I put in my tweet, I said, this ends one of two ways. Either he dies or I die. because there's no way somebody puts their hands on my daughter and I'm not attacking you. And it's going to be a fight to the finish. It's a literal fight to the finish. Either I'm going to kill you or you're going to kill me. It's going to end that way. There's no alternative. There's no gray area. Unless the guy runs away or something, or unless I'm dead. That's it. Either I'm going to die or he's going to die. You put your hands on my kid. That's how it's ending. And if I die, I die. That means I lost the fight and you killed me. If you die, well, that's probably because I choked you to death until I felt your larynx crush in between my arms. Jesus. Sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
I get it. I know where you're coming from.
You would do the same thing. I know you. You would do the same thing.
Maybe
you wouldn't kill him.
I definitely wouldn't kill him.
Because I think there would just be an uncontrollable rate. I'm talking about this. I don't know that girl from Adam, but I wanted to kill him. I wanted to see that.
There are some people out there. I saw some, there were some women that were going along and taking like signs off walls, and they were ripping them up. The Black Lives Matter stuff. They were like ripping them off the walls.
Put your hands on a kid, though.
And then there was other ones. I said we drove through some of those protests. There was, I thought it was funny because as we're going through and everybody's like, yeah, you're honking, and everybody's like cheering, and, they're chanting and everything like that. And there was this one protester who was looking at a car and like gave it the finger.
Yeah.
The car wasn't honking.
I think I saw that.
The car wasn't honking. And this happened in my, like, as I was driving, I saw this,
I thought I saw a video similar to this. Well, it's probably happening everywhere.
It is. So like there was a person who wasn't honking and was driving through, and the person gave that person a finger. And I don't know what happened in the car to warrant that. But like those are the kind of things that, like, when you're peaceful protesting, you don't retort, you don't come back with anger to anger. You just try and keep it very happy and like, I can't believe you're not supporting this, but they do matter. Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry. Not sorry. That kind of deal. You don't have to come back with anger, just I get where you're coming from. I know you're upset. You're probably a little on the immature side, but that's where you are. So like it's fine.
I did just say I would have murdered a guy. So.
Well, that's a little putting a hand on a family member, particularly a daughter or a son
child?
That's young,
like a defenseless child.
Yeah, and
dude, first of all, this was not a small guy. The dude was big, and I know he was old. He was 60, but he was a big dude. He looked like a former cop. He actually might have. I don't remember. I think his name was Anthony Brennan III.
I think that this guy's saying he was. Damien's saying he was
he
identified
was.
and arrested. They got him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Twitter got him.
That's good.
Yep.
That's perfect.
I must have retweeted that like three or four times over the weekend.
That's what you want. See, that's probably what I would have. I probably would have tried to reprehend, put him down on the ground, and hold him there if I could have. Until cops showed up.
Now that guy probably could have killed me. I mean, he was big. He was a big dude. Regardless of his age, he probably could have killed me, but I'd have gone down swinging.
Yeah.
I'd have gone down swinging.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt. I mean, first of all, I would have just bum rushed and speared him.
I would have done one of those things where if I couldn't have apprehended him, like, and held him down, I would have probably stood in front of my child and like just taken whatever he was going to give me. I can take a punch.
I mean, I just can't believe now.
Peaceful process.
Again, it's. I think I understand too that the guy who was holding the phone was trying to capture on video, probably thinking we need to catch this guy.
Yeah.
And
there's
so
plenty of other people with phones, I'm sure.
But if that's your kid, and you're like, hey kid, just take it.
The
so
phone, the phone would have went like this. I would have had it, and I would have dropped it, and gone. Yeah.
Right. And then all you would have heard was like noises in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scuffling and hopefully choking.
Something. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I would make no apologies for it.
I know.
And there wouldn't be a jury in the world that would convict me.
Yeah. Well, that would have been that would have been an interesting trial for sure.
I would have pulled a Samuel L. Jackson in the court. I would have been like, yes, he deserves to die, and I hope he burns in hell. I would have.
Well, he's gonna have a rough time. He's gonna have a rough go, no matter what. If he goes to prison, he's gonna have a rough go. That's for sure.
Dude,
you don't hurt children.
Real rough go. Yeah, they need to put him in. He needs to go in Gen Pop, minimum security Gen Pop. Let the prison system take care of that.
Whew. All right.
Listen. Okay. All I'm saying is, if you're a parent, and you saw that, and your first instinct would not have been to beat the ever loving shit out of that guy, or then you're not a good parent. Don't reproduce anymore. If your first instinct is to hold a phone and tape it while your kid's getting mauled, then you probably shouldn't be a dad or even a fucking aunt or something.
I can't. I don't understand the whole videotaping it. I couldn't. I can't.
Not if it's your kid getting.
I don't.
Your kid or your spouse.
My child falls on the ground and I like drop my phone.
Right,
and like
exactly. I mean,
So anyway, all right. Let's get into. So we talked about Jake. Roger Goodell is joining the fight as well. And that I think that it's late, but better late than never.
Much to the chagrin of President Chester Cheetah, who is not happy with Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
Did you see Trump's passive aggressive but kind of threatening tweet after?
It's what he does, just in general. But he does a bunch of. He's an idiot. I just can't. I don't understand how we got here. I don't get it. I can't figure it out.
Not with there being 350 million people in this country, and that was choice number one. No, I don't get it either. But apparently, yeah. So Goodell obviously said we missed the mark on our attempts.
He did a good job. He looked very much reading off a teleprompter kind of deal when he was making his speech.
Yeah, but he said the right stuff.
He did say everything. Everything was correct that he said. He came out. He said, I'm joining the fight, basically, and with the peaceful protests. And, he encourages everybody to do it too.
Yeah. Which Trump took as, so does that mean you're gonna promote taking a knee next year? Well, yeah, that's probably what it does
exactly
mean,
what it means. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hate to break it to you, Donnie, the whole fucking NFL is going to be kneeling next year.
Yeah.
You better get used to that idea, and probably for a very, very long time.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see a good portion of the fans doing it as well.
Oh, and also, get ready for this one, Donnie. Colin Kaepernick's going to be in the league. That's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
He'll be back.
Well, first of all, and just to address that, because I want to make sure that I don't come off as a hypocrite here. What I have said in the past about Colin Kaepernick is this, and I want to reiterate it. You and I have had the conversation many times. We both have agreed that he should be in the league. In fact, my brother and I were talking about it this past week, and he was asking me, he's like, don't you think he's at least a deserving backup? I said, oh no, he's more than that. I said, if he was in the league, I think he would be a bottom 10. I think he'd be in the bottom 10 of NFL starting quarterbacks. So, somewhere between 20 and 30, or what is it, 22 and 32. He'd be in there. He'd be in that range. I said, so yeah, of course he deserves to be in the league. That's never been in question. But here's a good example. See, what happened with Drew Brees is like a perfect example of the argument that I've been making for the past few years since this has been going on. Drew Brees, because of who he is and how great he is, regardless of what he said, his starting position in the NFL as the Saints quarterback was never in question.
Right.
Even with everything that happened. But the difference is he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback and Colin Kaepernick is not. And that is why Colin Kaepernick is not in the league. Colin Kaepernick is not in the league. I don't want to say it has nothing to do with him kneeling. Of course it does. Because if he never did that, he'd still be in the league.
Right.
But because he's not even a top half starting caliber quarterback, no team was going to weigh the risk versus reward with him and say he's worth keeping around. But I've said in the past to you that I think if Colin Kaepernick was even Matt Ryan good, he'd still be in the league.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even be. It wouldn't even. It wouldn't be.
And that is true. That is very true. He had a system that he worked very well in.
That's the only thing I've ever said about Kaepernick. Does he deserve to be in this league? Of course he does. He's a very solid. He would absolutely be a top end. He would if not a top end backup, he would be a low end starter.
Right.
That is.
But the problem is that he brought a bunch of controversy with him, and you don't.
He did.
Didn't want
and
that.
Owners,
that's what
white owners were not going to take that risk with him.
Right, and that's what we've always said. Yeah.
And listen, you know as well as I do that every owner where there might have been interest from a GM, the owner squashed it. They went to that GM and said, absolutely not, under no circumstances do I want you to bring him onto this team.
Right.
And that we know that happened. We know
and he's probably unfortunately, because of the situation, Colin Kaepernick's probably received like 3 or 4 offers already. And now he's going to have to decide whether he's willing to take this money for a weird cause.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of awkward.
So should we, I see what Damien's posting about baseball. Should we shift gears to that? Because that seems important.
Yeah, we can do that. We can head on over that. I do want to talk about the NBA real quick.
Oh, right, yeah.
NBA restart July 31st. They're going to start at the Walt Disney World ESPN Wild World of Sports in Orlando, that complex
We
over
all
there.
knew this was happening eventually. This was going to happen.
They're going
This
to
was in the
have
pipeline for a while.
22 teams. They're going to play like a very short season.
Eight games.
Yeah, and then they're going to have maybe like a play-in for the eighth seed or something like that.
Which, as a Spurs fan, I'm kind of shaking my head like, even if they go 8-0, they're still not going to get in.
Yeah. Well, there's a playoff.
Still...
there might be a play-in round, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
At least I get to see him play a few games.
Yeah. And it'll be very interesting to see how this shakes out and how it works. No fans and all that kind of stuff. And
it's gonna be
weird. It's gonna be weird, but we'll see how it plays out.
It's
still early to kind of think about what's going to happen. I can't wait to see a game to see how I feel watching the game, because I'm going to watch that first game. Whatever game's first, I'm watching it.
I will tell you though, because I've been watching wrestling for the last 3 months without fans. I'm used to it. So actually probably, it probably won't. I mean, obviously different sport, totally different environment, but you got to remember, wrestling, maybe even more than a lot of sports, is so dependent on fan.
Well, they interact with fans a lot.
It's fan interaction. So if you have a sport that's not really quote unquote fan interaction, I think I'll be able to watch it and probably not even bat an eye, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it.
I want to see some, good high-end sports.
See some real sports,
yeah. It's unfortunate. It's going to be weird when the first person gets the coronavirus. It's going to suck. What's going to happen?
We know that's going to happen, and how they're going to respond to it.
Yeah. It's the incubation period and the quarantine and all that kind of stuff. It's going to somebody's going to slip.
The question is, if one person gets it, will the whole league shut down? That's the question.
Or are they just going to continue to monitor it?
Right. Or will it be
because it's not everybody that gets it doesn't get it bad. Some people just get it and it kind of goes away and they don't even really realize that. But
I guess what I'm asking, without trying to be insensitive, is, will there be like an overreaction if one person gets it, and we'll just say, okay, well, we're shutting down the league and all sports are going to just shut down completely.
I don't know.
One person. I don't know. I mean, but I don't know if that.
My guess is it won't be just, if it's just one, they're going to kind of feel it out. It depends on what happens really with that person. If that person just gets sick and is fine in 2 weeks and comes back,
but
will they let him back in 2 weeks? I don't know.
You probably do have to shut it down though, because, and again, not
the incubation period.
Yeah. You're right, and just then the question is,
do they shut it down for 2 weeks and then come back?
I would
above
imagine,
my pay grade.
I would imagine if they shut it down completely, they'll just say forget it.
Oh,
it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how much they need that money. It's an interesting situation. So let's get into it. Like I just had posted, Damian, I posted a couple times already, breaking news and a new proposal from the MLB to the players. It actually looks promising. He gave me a quick bullet point of what's going to happen. 75% prorated salaries, 76 games, September 27th, end of the season, playoffs in October. 76 games. Whew.
Look, I'd like 81 just to have the half, but whatever. 70. When
does that mean? When does that start? When does the season start? If it's 76 games,
it's got.
Are they going to still have the same kind of schedule where they played 5 or 6 games a week?
Actually, it doesn't. Does it? August, September? No. Yeah, it would have to start in July. It'd have to be pretty early July, because 75. I mean, even if, that's. You'd have to be in July at some point, early to mid-July, because then you've got all of August, all of September. It depends. Yeah, because if October is the playoffs, still the same playoff structure. So
it must be mid-July,
mid-July. Yeah, I would think.
So 75% prorated salaries. That's a lot of money that they're going to be paying for basically less than half the season.
I would.
It works. I guess.
I'll tell you what. I'll make this simple. I haven't seen any of this because we've been doing the show. Damian has just kind of broken this for us. Here's what I'll say. Here's my knee-jerk reaction to this. If this is what Major League Baseball is proposing to the players, 75% prorated salary, playing 76 games.
If you don't take this, you seem so incredibly spoiled.
If they say no, I say, fuck you, Max Scherzer. Fuck you. Well, not just him, but fuck all of them.
The players' union, yeah.
Fuck all of them. Fuck the union. Fuck Tony Clark. Fuck all you guys. If that isn't going to do it for you, 75%, you don't deserve it. You're not even playing 75% of the season.
Right.
I mean,
That's a good deal. It's a really good deal.
If they say no to this, they can go fuck themselves. And you know what? They won't deserve our loyalty when they come back.
So 75. Oh, wait. 75% prorated salaries. Prorated means they get paid for 76 games, not 162. So they're going to get paid 75% of the 76 games.
Well, see, now I'm not good at math, so
Or are they getting paid 75% for the full year?
You're losing me here.
And they get 76 games.
Yeah,
Play.
I don't know.
This is why I needed like some more. I was hoping to get a link or something like that so I could check it out and read it a little bit.
But
yeah, I definitely look into it. If it's 75% of the 76 games, then they're basically getting. They're
Do
not
I owe
getting
Max
very much
Scherzer
money.
an apology? I don't know. Probably
not. No.
I don't know.
So Damian seems to think it's a pretty good offer, though. So if he thinks it's a pretty good offer, I'll take his word on it, and I'll look into this afterwards, and we can discuss it on another show, of course, and go into it a little bit further as we get more information.
I'm going to say again, though. Listen, I will say this though. I'm not going to retract anything I just said. I'll say this just to kind of pile on. If baseball doesn't come back, it will be because of the players. It won't be because of the owners on this one.
Sure.
It'll be their fault, and either way, I would say fuck you to them because. At a time when, man, we desperately need some sports. The fact that they would whine and cry about prorated salaries and at a time when we really, really need something to focus on to divert our attention from everything that's going on around us. If they shoot it down and say no, then I say, go fuck yourselves. And I'll tell you what. Look, and I'm a sucker. Of course, I'll come back to baseball when it comes back, but probably only watching on TV. I think my form of protest would be not to go to a stadium for at least a year and say, screw you. Not that I would go to a stadium anyway, not as long as we're living in a world without a vaccine. So maybe what I would say is, okay, in the calendar year following a vaccine, I will not go to a stadium.
Right. Yeah,
because I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go to one anyway without one. So
the whole thing's very interesting. Like, I'm having a very difficult time with
75% of what they would normally be paid for 76 games. Okay, so
they're getting less than they normally. But there's not any fans involved, so
no fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fair.
You can't really.
Okay, look. Let's put it this way. Why would you give them a 75% prorated salary for the entire season if you're not playing the entire season?
Right.
So you have to take a pay cut, and it needs to be a pay cut based on the amount of games you played. And that to me, that is fair. So I will not retract anything I just said about Max Scherzer. He can still go fuck himself if they say no to this. I shouldn't be picking on him entirely, but he has been.
He's been very vocal, yes.
He's been very vocal, and he's sort of been, to me, the face of all of this.
Yeah.
Him
and Tony Clark.
Yeah, him and Tony Clark.
Tony Clark is unfortunate. He's such a nice guy too, and
no, he is really a great guy.
He's really just, I don't know. Maybe he's a bit of a pushover. Maybe he shouldn't be in that position. All right. So he said, Evan Drellick is saying 70% of what they would normally be paid for 76 games. Yeah.
I still think that's fair.
It works out to 45% or so of their normal salary for the year. But again, I think it's a nice middle ground from where they want to have been negotiating so
it's
far.
Almost half of their salary for not even playing a half a season.
Yeah. It's basically getting paid for the games that you're going to play.
Guys, deal with it. I mean, why would you get paid for not playing? I mean,
yeah. They're getting paid for the amount of games they're going to play. 45%. That's essentially what they're going to get.
Do they think? Because listen, here's what: if they bitch and moan about this, but then basically forfeit the season and say, "Forget it, we're not going to agree and we're not going to play," then was this really about the money?
Yeah.
Because then you're just not going to get anything.
Right.
If you don't play, you'll get zero salary.
Right.
And if you're really a good union person, now let's remember what the point of a union is, okay? The purpose of a union is so that the bigger guys, the Max Scherzers, the Mike Trouts, those guys who are making $30 million or more a year can help the little guys. Yeah. That's what a union is all about. Yes. It's about balance and bringing balance to the force, right?
It's unity.
It's unity. It's literally in the word. So if you're going to sit there, Max Scherzer, and say, well, if I'm not making my $30 million, then fuck you to, I don't know. Name a guy making who's the backup catcher on the Royals. Fuck you to that guy. You're not getting shit either. That's what that is. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to.
I mean, you can look at any of the guys. You can look at half the Yankees players, like Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres is a starter, but he's making no money because he's still on his first deal.
I mean, it would.
Aaron Judge isn't making any money.
It would sort of be
where he should be paying.
It'd be like Nolan Arenado saying "fuck you" to Gio Urshela.
Yeah,
it's like, sorry, kid.
Yeah,
I know you had a nice little year last year, but that's it. You're not gonna get paid this year. And think about Gio Urshela is probably a good example because he probably is making less than $1 million a year.
Yeah, and he's due to get some money if he keeps performing the way he did. But
right. So how is this? Look, again, for those guys at the top end, I mean, this will play out just like any other corporate America thing.
I'll tell you, one guy who's making a killing is Aaron Hicks. He only plays about 45% of the season anyway.
Right. Actually, the only benefit of all of this for the Yankees is that this really helps. I mean, Paxton will now be ready to go. Mm-hmm. Judge, I don't know, because there's such a mystery as to what's going on with him. They still haven't really figured it out.
He's just gonna get injured every single year.
Yeah, he is. It's just he's too big.
It stinks for Sanchez because Sanchez usually gets hurt in the middle of the season, so he's gonna get hurt right in time for the playoffs.
He's gonna get hurt, or he'll just get hurt immediately in July and not be ready to play in October.
Yeah.
I just want to see. And the other thing is, I want baseball to come back, because I want them to tinker with it a little bit and have some fun with it this year. This will be a year unlike any other. You should try and do some different things.
True.
Because here's the other thing I was thinking about too. If there is a baseball season, as there will be with any sports season, do you think this championship, whoever wins it, does it come with an asterisk? Is it weird? Is it different?
They all had the same.
Oh, no. I agree. I mean, everybody was all in the same boat.
Yeah. So I don't think it comes with an asterisk. I think it's just you won this season the way that it was played for everybody.
The way that it was played, I guess.
I think the more difficult one is playing like the NBA. If the Lakers don't win it all,
or the
because
Bucks.
The way that if they don't win it all, that's a little weird. Because the Lakers and the Bucks really looked like they were the two top teams, and we're just gonna run through everybody.
And if something fluky happens,
due to lack,
they lose a best of 3 series or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be odd.
I would agree. You're right, because baseball will it'll start and end. It'll their full season won't be a full season. Their season now will be basically like every other of the 3 sports.
Yeah.
So. I
wonder what happens to the AJ Hinches and stuff like that of the world. They got suspended for a certain amount of time. Does it carry over because they didn't play the first half of the season?
Well, I still insist that this virus was the best thing to happen to the Astros. Although, because let's be honest, now for at least this year, they will not have to deal with any fans in the stands booing them. And then even if baseball comes back in full next year, will fans have the memory? Now, you and we will. Oh, I will.
Yeah. I think most fans won't.
Well, but will it be with the same vitriol?
I think certain group, Yankee fans, yeah, they might.
Yankee fans?
But the Royals, they're not going to care.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But I will tell you, though, I think they kind of.
It really depends on what the players' memory of it. That's what really matters. Because if the players pour some gasoline on it by throwing at them and stuff like that, that'll help keep it afloat. Yeah. But do we really want that? I don't know.
I hang on to everything. So the answer for me would be yes. Yes, I would absolutely want it to go.
All right. Okay. It's time to sign off. Been on for about 50 minutes. We've covered baseball, basketball,
we got a lot.
Football.
We just didn't talk about hockey.
Politics. Got all sorts of stuff going on.
I don't even know what the hockey plan is. But they're coming back in July too, I think.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see this going on with no fans. I'm intrigued for sure. I'm really excited about the what's going on with golf this weekend. I want to see what's all about. I want to see who plays well, how it's done, how it's handled. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Again, I still think golf is the benefactor of this more than any sport because I just don't think they're going to be as affected.
Yeah. So he said, forget the Astros. Best thing to happen to Cora. At this point, I bet he's back in the dugout in Boston for 2021. No one is talking about Cora at all anymore. We'll see what happens when the baseball season starts for sure. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Unless I forgot who their interim manager is, but what if he does a good job?
Oh, I know, right?
I mean, what if Boston somehow won the World Series this year, which would not be unthinkable just given what we know about everything this year. I mean, this will be a total wild card year.
Yeah.
I suspect in a year where there's only going to be maybe 76 games played that the quote unquote best team probably won't win. Something weird will happen this year.
Yeah.
Like, would it be weird if just like, okay, it might be weird if like the Tigers won, but what about a team like the Angels? I could see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trout and Ohtani get hot and, pitch and hit their way to a championship. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I mean, anything could happen. Even Oakland. Maybe Oakland finally gets their World Series. Oh, yeah. Renicky, right? Yeah, Renicky. So, what if he does a really good job with this Boston team? Do you just bring Cora back just because?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for listening, watching, however you took the show in. We appreciate it. School season's almost done for us. Which means I'm going to get to start my reading, which I have the book right here that I'm going to start reading as soon as school's over officially. Zen Golf. I'm going to start reading that. And then I have another book, which is all about stretching because I got to stretch like crazy because my body's terrible. With all these issues, getting old. I'm going to be 42 next month. Woo!
I'll be 43 in August.
Yeah. On Tom Brady's birthday. Literally anything can happen in a short season. One great win streak completely alters the playoff picture.
I mean, on the Michael K show last week, they were joking about how the Marlins could win the World Series if they went on a hot enough streak.
That'd be weird.
Which really weird.
Yeah. Go Jeter.
That was also hyperbole, but the point remains. Like, it wouldn't shock me if a team. I'll bring up the Angels. Like, for whatever reason, I could maybe see that team.
Well, yeah. They've improved too. So
maybe that'll be Mike Trout's championship. Like his only championship will be in the COVID-19 shortened season.
Hey, take it.
He wouldn't care. He'd get it. He'd get his ring.
Smoking while I got him.
But you're right though. Everyone's in the same boat. Mm-hmm. So I agree that any title should not be asterisked or
It's tougher when the season's already started and like 3/4 of the way over, and then you do it because you've kind of already got a good idea of who's going to win. But then
if you're all in the same boat starting at the exact same time, then there are no excuses, and it shouldn't be tarnished. It shouldn't be tainted.
I agree. All right. So you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, on Twitter at Shane and the Bryman. You can follow me on Twitter at Einhornesfinkel and Instagram at Happy McAvoy.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And we will be back on Monday. And who knows? We keep saying we might do another drinky episode. Maybe we might. You never know. Could happen soon.
It could just happen.
It's going to happen. And when it happens kind of spur of the moment. And then, it's like, the Bryman's a little bored, wants to talk a little sports, wants to talk a little sorts. And we, have a couple drinks.
Show off some Funko Pops or some shit.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll just watch him play Golden Tee for an hour. I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun, huh?
You could play Golden Tee and I can be hitting on my simulator.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'm sure that would draw everybody in.
That'd be fun for us.
Yeah. I had one of those nights last night where like I fell asleep and then I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I was looking online for. God, I look for the weirdest shit online when I wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know if you do too, but for whatever reason, I was like nostalgic to play a couple of games from my Super Nintendo days. One was Super Bases Loaded because I used to love that game. And then the other one was Stanley Cup hockey. Those were like my two favorite games.
That was a good game.
Nintendo era. The Nintendo era. And I was trying to find one of those like modded ones that has like 600 or 800 games in it.
Yeah.
And they're cheap. You could find them like for $30 or $40, but I couldn't find any that had either or both of those games on it.
Really?
It was weird. Like I couldn't find Super Bases Loaded, and I couldn't find Stanley Cup.
I was a big RBI baseball guy. I had all of them.
They all had RBI baseball.
Yeah.
They had
I had RBI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10.
They had like three, somewhere between 3 and 5 of them or something like that. I couldn't find Stanley Cup, which had mode 6 rink rotation, if you recall that. But what I liked about Stanley Cup is that it was actually authorized by the Players Association, so you had the teams and the players.
Yeah.
Because I used to always play with like the 91, 92 Blackhawks, the team that lost in the Stanley Cup Finals to the Penguins. Because I loved that team with Jeremy Roenick and Steve Larmer and Ed Belfour. It was actually a really, really good team. And I always used to play like full seasons with them and win the Stanley Cup. And I can't find that game. I can't find it modded anywhere, and I'm so pissed. Like now I'm going to be like searching for that because I woke up at 3:45 in the morning and had this weird craving to play.
Speaking of video games,
Super Nintendo games.
So I realized playing video games when I'm playing on the elliptical, I realized that it was giving me carpal tunnel.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I'm sitting there like this with my arms bent, and I'm working. You need to have your arms kind of straightened out, and it was actually making my thumbs hurt and going all the way down to my wrist. I will tell you something though. I have been, when I do my draft and stuff like that, because I'm like in year 2030 now in Madden. I have like 6 or 7 Super Bowls, all that kind of stuff. Like I've been playing for, it's a lot of fun. But I have been drafting mainly based on names. So I draft like my main receiver, last name, Arsenault. So I'm like, that's kind of like Arsenal. That's kind of cool. And then I have another wide receiver. Guess what his name is? Jaquelin. It really is. It's Jaquelin.
That's awesome.
I'm like, that is amazing. I was like, I have to draft. Yeah, I have to draft him, and I did. Then I have
Jaquelin.
Yeah, my running back is Rutledge, and he's like just a beast. Love it.
Yeah.
I've been drafting on names only, and it's just been lots of fun doing it that way.
So these are basically just guys who don't exist.
Yeah, they're not really
because it's the year 2030.
Computer generated. Yeah.
We haven't been defeated at this point by aliens, or
what's that?
We all still exist in 2030.
In Madden, we do.
I guess. Because at this rate.
Buffalo Bills got 7 Super Bowls under their belts. I had a couple years where I had a quarterback who lost in the Super Bowl once, lost in the first round of the playoffs. Claxton, hated the name, hated the way he threw the ball, but he was good. Just couldn't do it. I had to trade Josh Allen because I couldn't afford him anymore. So I got it, and then I had to go with Claxton. And Claxton, I just hated the name, and I played with him for like 3 years.
Doesn't sound like a winner.
Got him to like Pro Bowls and stuff like that, but just couldn't get over the hump. And I just hated the way he threw the ball. He just wasn't clutch. So, and then I had to play with a couple terrible guys, and I had to rebuild. And then I finally got.
Sounds so different.
And then I finally got Evan St. Pierre, who's actually I love it. I love him. He's like just the way he throws the ball and everything. He's great.
Now, what would be great
too,
is if in 10 years from now there are actually some guys in the league like with some of these names.
Yeah, Jake Quillen.
Well, I don't know about J. Cole. Evan St. Pierre sounds like a definite possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And Frank Arsenault.
Frank Arsenault.
He's a beast. He's like 6'5", like 260, and like a fast physical wide receiver. He's huge.
Tight end.
He's huge.
Tight end body.
He's huge.
That's Gronk-esque.
Oh man, he's a beast. Leading the league in yards, receiving, everything.
Wow. Hey, it's almost lunchtime. What do you know?
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for watching. MLBPA has responded.
Remember that.
The Players Union has responded. We'll talk about it next week.
They aren't happy with it. Oh boy.
Is that what he said? Of course they're not.
Fuck you, Max Scherzer.
Get out of here.
Stay classy, Max Scherzer.
Seriously.
And Planet Globe.
Oh, the MLB.
Oh, there. Thank you. I was like, wait, where's the crash? 'Cause that's what it's... That sounds good.
Oh. A little laser. Yeah, shoot you with a laser.
Wow! So it only took about 10 minutes for Major League for the players' union to respond. We're not happy with this
And
proposal.
the Bryman goes,
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
nobody cares about you and your money. Stupid players. All right.
It's just.
Peace out.
Anyways,
See ya.
bye.
See you guaranteed Monday. If not, maybe sooner. Who knows? Follow us on Facebook. Facebook.com, Shane and the Bryman. YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. You get notified whenever we go live. Peace.